Hi, I'm Babar from Blues and Roots Ensemble, and in this video we're going to be looking at the Charles Mingus composition Nostalgia in Times Square. This video is just going to focus on the melody, how to learn a jazz melody without using music, written music, and the next video is going to take a more in-depth look at soloing. So, Nostalgia in Times Square was written in 1958 for the film Shadows. It originally started as part of a film soundtrack and was first recorded by Mingus for the album Jazz Portraits Mingus in Wonderland in 1959. It's not typical of the kind of melodies that made Mingus famous. If you think of songs like Jump Monk or Reincarnation of a Lovebird, they were like the big expansive melodies over extended forms that Mingus was becoming known for at the time. Or you had things like Gunslinging Bird or Haitian Fight Song, where Mingus used to layer blues motifs and fragments on top of each other to create this kind of organised chaos. Those were typical Mingus characteristics. This composition is more basic in its approach to form and melody, but because of that it's become one of Mingus's more often played songs. It's quite often called at like jam sessions and things, and it's a good one to learn and get stuck into his style of writing. If we look at the form, you can see that it's a 12-bar form. This is the form in F, by the way, in concert. So 12-bar form, the first 4 bars are the same, and then you have bars 5 and 6 slightly different. Bars 7 and 8, the same as the first 4 bars, and then bars 9 through to 12 present some different key centres. So it's kind of based on a blues, but it's got some different chords, and that's going to be reflected in the melody. Makes it slightly more interesting than just a normal blues piece. So for the melody of the first 4 bars, or the first 8 bars actually, we can use the minor pentatonic scale. So if we're in the key of F, our concert instruments are going to be playing an F minor pentatonic scale. That's the first, minor third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, 7th and 8th. If you can find this somewhere in the kind of mid-range of your instrument, because we're actually going to go 2 notes below as well. So in concert instruments, that's piano, guitar, double bass guitar, flute, or any other concert instruments, you can play an F, an A flat, a B flat, a C, an E flat, and an F. And as I said, if you can stay in the mid-range of your instruments, then you can play the 7th and the 5th below, 1, the E flat for the 7th, and then the 5, the C. So we've got F, A flat, B flat, C, E flat, F. That's concert instruments. I'm just going to run through the other instruments quickly as well. If you need to pause the video or screenshot so you've got the scale, this would be a good time to do it. So if you're in a B flat instrument, that's the trumpet or a clarinet, tenor saxophone, you're going to be in the key of G. So your root, your first note, is going to be a G. Minor third is a B flat, 4th is a C, 5th is a D, 7th is an F, and then the top note, your 8, is a G again. And remember, you're going to go G and then 2 below as well, so the F and the D below the G. If you're playing alto saxophone and you're in the key of E flat, your starting note for this scale is going to be a D. So number 1 is a D, 3rd is an F, 4th is a G, 5th is an A, 7th is a C, and then the octave is a D. And if you're a French horn or any instruments in F, then you're in C, your starting note is a C, the root is a C, the 3rd is an E flat, the 4th is an F, the 5th is a G, and the 7th is a B flat. So get used to just playing that scale: 1, minor 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 7, 5, 4, 3, 1, 7, 5, 1. And the first little jazz warm-up we can do, or exercise we can do, is just play that with a metronome on beats 2 and 4. I'm using the Frozen Ape metronome app on my iPad. I've got it on crotchet equals 54. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that was going up the scale and then down to the 7th and 5th below. You can do that at any speed just to help yourselves warm up. You notice that I had the beats there on the off beats, feeling beats 2 and 4. When you listen to jazz, that's going to be the hi-hat on the drums. And that's how we really feel jazz with the beats 2 and 4 as our kind of guide. So that was just crotchets, but this tune is going to use some triplets and some swung quavers as well. So you can play along. just play along to the beat, but using a mixture of triplets, of crotchets, and of swung quavers. 1, 2, from the top, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then once you're there, you can just play around the scale a little bit, getting used to how it sounds. If you want to go above where you are, and you can just take some time, metronome on 2 and 4, just exploring some basic improvisation in one scale. At this point, I should say that it doesn't matter when you're playing around if you play notes that aren't included in the scale. In fact, that's quite fun. Quite often, the more interesting ideas come when you branch out from the scale. But for me, the important thing is that you can hear 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, as that's how I'm going to be dictating the melody. But yeah, if you're playing around and you want to add the sharp 4 to make it a blues scale, and the second of the chord to make it more interesting, then that's totally cool as well. In fact, it's kind of a good thing to get into the habit of branching out just from set scales. But that minor pentatonic is going to be the basis of the melody. So the melody starts with an upbeat, and it starts with 5 to 1, so the 5th below the root that we started. This is our 1, and we're going to start on the 5th. And the upbeat is going to sound like this. The first 4 bars go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 1, 5, 1, 1, 5, 1, 1, 1, 3, 3, 1, 1, 7, 5, 1, 1. So that's using the 5th below the 7th, the 1, and then the minor third. And that's the rhythm for the first 4 bars. I'll sing it again. I'll do it with the metronome on 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 1, 5, 1, 1, 5, 1, 1, 1, 3, 3, 1, 1, 7, 5, 1, 1. And then bars 5 and 6, I said we do something slightly different. We're just going to go from the 1st to the 4th. So the upbeat goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 4, 4, 1, 4, 4, and then we go back to play the repeat of our second phrase. So we go 5, 1, 1, 1, 3, 3, 1, 1, 7, 5, 1, 1. Again, this is quite quick for you. You can pause it at different phrases and just get that phrase done. But I'm just going to play the first 8 bars now with the metronome. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 1. 5, 1, 1, 5, 1, 1, 1, 3, 3, 1, 1, 7, 5, 1, 1. Then up to 4, 1, 4, 4, 1, 4, 4, and then second phrase, 5, 1, 1, 1, 3, 3, 1, 1, 7, 5, 1, 1. And that's the first 8 bars of Nostalgia in Times Square, all based on the minor pentatonic scale. Now, as I said, bars 9 to 12, we've got some more interesting things going on. And the best way to learn the melody, I think, is to start at the 5th. So finding our 5th, this is our first, finding our 5th, and just going down chromatically from the 5 to the 2. So 5, flat 5, perfect 4th, major 3rd, minor 3rd, and then the 2nd. So getting those chromatic notes down, 5, flat 5, 4, major 3, minor 3, 2, in the key that we're in. And if you can do that, then the last 4 bars of the melody is quite fun. So the last phrase starts like this. 1, 5, 8, 5, 1, flat 5. So I'll do that again with the upbeat. 2, 3, 4, 1, 5, 8, 5, 1, flat 5. And then 1, 4, 5, down to the major 3rd. So and it's worth just playing over that a bit. That's the trickiest part of the piece, but actually the most interesting part as well, the bit that goes down chromatically. So we're basing it on these notes, just with some other kind of buffing notes around it. So, and then once we get to that phrase, the last little phrase goes like this. 1, 3, minor 3rd, 1, 3, 3, 3, 1, 2, 1. So the last 4 bars goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's the last 4 bars that we have of the melody. So just before we run through the whole thing, I'm just going to talk about a little tag that comes at the end of the first time we play through the melody. In jazz, the melody is called the head, and most of the times when you play Nostalgia in Times Square, you play the head twice, basically just to get this tag in, which is really nice. So if you can go up to the 6th of your scale, so this is the root, we're going to go up to the major sixth. So in the key of F, so for concert instruments, the sixth is the D. If you're in B flat instruments, your sixth is an E. If you're in E flat instruments, your sixth is a B. And if you're in F instruments, like horn, your sixth is the A. So we're going to go sixth, flat sixth, fifth, then the major third, and then down to the root, down to the one. So it goes like this. That's a really nice little kind of Mingus-y lick. And that comes at the end of the first head. So that's the melody in its entirety. And before I play it all the way through, I'm just going to talk about some different ways to play along. So if you want to, you can go onto the Blues and Roots Ensemble website, where you can listen to this track through. I did play most of it at the beginning of this video, but it's still a nice way to listen to it through. It's on the Blues and Roots Ensemble website. And there's also a backing track on the website that you can play along to, where I think we play the whole form 3 times. Or else, if you've got the app, the iReal Pro app, on the iPad, you can jump into iReal Pro, and then type in Nostalgia in Times Square. You can find all of the jazz tunes on the Jazz Forum. And there's different things you can do in iReal Pro. You can change the speeds. You can obviously change the key that we're in, but we're going to be playing concert F. Change the amount of repeats. And in the mixer at the bottom, you can change which instruments you've got. I tend to take the bass out because I'm a bass instrument, but obviously you might want to leave the bass in if you're playing along to it. And I'm just going to play the melody twice now with the iReal Pro backing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 511, 5111, 3, 3, 1, 1, 7, 5, 1, 1, and up to 4. 1, 4, 4, 1, 4, 4. Then first raise. 1, 1, 3, 3, 1, 1, 7, 5, 1, 1, and then the front bit. 1, 5, 8, 5, 1, flat 5, 1, 4, 5, major third, 1 minor third, 1, 2, 1. As a little extension exercise, once you feel like you've really got the melody down, you can then start looking up other recordings on YouTube or Spotify, and you can play along to those. If they're in different keys, you might need to transfer this way of learning the melody into different keys. But the good thing about learning this way is that you should be able to transfer the notes across the different keys fairly easily, certainly much more easily than if you're using sheet music. The other thing is, now you've learnt the tune, you don't need any music for it really, so if you're playing with a band, you can kind of engage with the audience in the rhythm section a lot more. Finally, the licks here, like, or they're the basis for some nice, interesting solos. You've got some nice rhythms going in there, and some cool phrases around different scales. So by learning a melody by kind of ear and by like scale numbers and things without looking at sheet music, you give your fingers and your ears some nice melodic material to work through for the solos. So just to finish the video, I want to finish the video by recommending a Mingus album to check out. Once you've listened to Jazz Portraits and played along with the Mingus recording, there's also a really good Mingus big band recording of this tune. They're both in E flat, so if you can learn this tune down a tone as well, you can play along with those. The recordings on the Blues and Roots Ensemble websites are in F. If you want to check out some other tunes and play along to some other Mingus tunes, there are a few great blues tunes on the album Blues and Roots, which is the album that this band is named after. Mingus really broke through with some of his compositions on that. And yeah, if you can work out what key you're playing and you can play along to some of those tunes on that album, it's a really good one to check out. So the album Blues and Roots. If you like this video and you want to find out about more jazz exercises and things and all things Mingus or all things double bass, you can subscribe to the video on the channel. If you're watching on Instagram, then do follow the band and do send us any videos of you playing this, you playing it with your friends. And we're going to talk about solos in the next video that comes along in this series.